if God hadn't touched my hip in this space, in a place where I felt like I was untouchable, I would not have gotten to where I am today.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the While I'm Waiting podcast. Johanna here.
This is Elle.
And today we are talking what I like to call God moments. So, just for clarity purposes, God moments are where you see, dang, God, you really looked out. Because at the time, I thought you were playing me, but come to find out, that was your grace and your mercy. And now I'm not stuck with him anymore. Of one of the many examples. So, Lashana, tell me about a time. Tell me about a God moment. Tell me about when he came through for the kid.
Whew, child. Countless times. I told you I have so many stories.
Dang.
I've been waiting a long time.
Well, no, wait, no, because you are bound to have received some of the things you've been waiting on.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%.
And so of those things,
mm-hmm.
Okay, tell me one thing that you received, that you were waiting on and you received.
My career.
Okay. And then tell me about a God moment that, hindsight being 2020, you saw, like, at the time you were like, oh my gosh, like, how can you do this to me, God? And then at the end you were like, whew, thank God you did that, because I would have found this.
Yeah, that's good. Like, so for me, coming out of law school, like, my whole law school experience is unique to me. Mm-hmm. I went to law school, and the whole time I was there, I was putting on theatrical productions. Mm. But God bless, I was still on Dean's List and all that, but my focus was split. All that said and done, when it was time to take the bar exam for the first time, like, I actually failed. I did. Like, I failed the bar exam time 1 and time 2.
Ooh.
While at BET working.
And how many times can you take it?
Oh, you can take it till you pass.
Okay.
But like, for me, it was like having, like, that experience was really devastating for someone like me, because it's like, God, like, what's up with that? Like, I was on Dean's List in law school, and not only that, but I did that and made Law Review my first year, putting on a 60-cast theatrical production. It's like, this doesn't make sense, right? And it's like, and I'm out here and I'm trying and I'm praying and I'm just upset about it, because it didn't make sense. Now, that said, whole time, like, I'm working with with Eric Thomas and and CJ and Carl, and these are like just early stages of like our world. But it's like, I'm doing that, I'm working at BT, I'm trying to study for the bar exam, we're putting on events and I'm failing. Putting on events and I'm failing. And I'm just like, Lord, like, what in the world? Like, this is my whole career. Like, I want to do this. Like, I'm thinking of, I had my own thoughts about where my career was supposed to go. But in that, as I failed and had to get back up, and failed and had to get back up, I'm working with the guys. And then, and with that, it's like, I'm building, like, we're building the company together, and we're growing, and we start impacting lives, and, and so I end up leaving BET, and then eventually, I start representing Eric as his attorney, and we start, and then we start building more businesses, and, and it's just like, yo, like, this is crazy, because this is 2022, so this is like over 10 years ago now. And so, when I look back on it, it's like, if God had allowed me, because I don't know if you are aware of this or not, Johanna, but I'm a little arrogant, and so however you view that, it was like 20 times worse back then. Like, I was coming out of law school doing like crazy things that you never seen before. So like, it was nothing to me. So like, what I realize now is like, like, if God hadn't touched my hip in this space, in a place where I felt like I was untouchable, like, I would not have gotten to where I am today. This is like my community, my work and family community is phenomenal. Like I impact lives. I get to participate in impacting lives on a global level every day. Like it is ministry every day, whether it's ministry to my immediate circle or to the people that we get a chance to touch and impact. And from there, and with that, like I've grown. Like I am not the Lashana that I was back then. And what I realized is that if God had allowed me to pass the bar exam on the first time with all of my other successes on top of that, the level
too big for the room.
You would not have been able, like, at all. And I don't consider myself to be a bad person, but where I am strong and know I am strong, I am strong. And so like I know like that is for me, it was just like the benefit of that process of like failing and having to absorb the blows of failure. It gave me something else. It gave me the opportunity to heal, you know, from my past traumas. It gave me the opportunity to learn even like what it means to be self-aware and to actually practice it. It gave me the opportunity to connect and meet with the world of amazing people that I've met and connect with. You know, like I would have never gotten that if I, you know, if God, like if I was able to persuade God, like, hey, like God, like let me pass this test, like, you know, this next time. I would have never, because I'm telling you, I was not that person. Like I would have tried to make it work, like kind of like as like okay, like I'm in it with you guys and still like try to you know whatever. But no, like God was like he had to, like he broke me and it humbled me, and then he put me in an environment where I could be nurtured and you know and cared for and looked after while I worked to develop like the other stuff and move through the bar and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, and so here I am. So, yeah.
Well, dang.
Listen.
Thank God.
We thank God. What about you, sis?
I don't know. I don't have those moments. Let me stop. You know, I think, yeah, okay. Didn't even think about this until just now. I think when I knew my marriage was on its last leg, right? But I'm still that type that I'm gonna figure it out. Like I'm gonna exhaust all effort so that when I walk away, there's no regret. Like I'm the type that I don't care if it gets terrible, as long as when I walk away at that last like phase of it, I don't have to think about it anymore. Then I'm okay. Like, oh, this was, yeah. But at least I followed it all the way down to the rabbit hole to the bottom of it, and I'm like, okay. So, I remember the last thing my ex-husband, well, he was my husband at the time, but had asked was like for us to move. And I remember leaving Maryland to go to Florida. And I loved my life in Maryland. Like I was just like, I felt like that was where I came of age. That was where I got my degrees. That was where I bought my first home. That was where I just did a lot of things that Johanna didn't know Johanna was capable of. But at the same time, I have this marriage that I committed to. And so I'm like, look, if this is the last request, because I already know but if this is the last request, then I got to try. So I go and I move. And he doesn't move. I moved to Florida. And I buy a house. And he visited, but he never moved. And that time alone forced me to see you can be alone. It's okay. Because for a while you've been doing this thing in tandem with somebody else. Now you need to figure it out. So I remember sitting there one morning and I'm like, yo, you got to make friends. Like, yeah, one of your best friends lives down here and it's cool, but you have to have other friends. Like, so I go on Instagram and I'm scrolling through. And I don't even know how I end up on the Hood Estates page. But I'm going through it and I'm clicking on the people that they're tagging. And I see one of the people in the thing was having a real estate event. So I was like, I mean, it's something to learn about, something to do. Let me go. It takes me forever to get dressed, to get up and go. And I finally get there. I'm late. Surprise, surprise. And Pocky and Sandy end up walking in. And didn't expect to meet them. When we talked about it later, they never planned on being there. But they have become instrumental in my life since I met them. And when I say whether it's mentorship, just giving love and showing up, or just being there, I would have never met them. So something that I thought was just like, why is this disappointment happening, ended up leading me to two of the best people that I've ever known in my life.
Wow.
And
that's awesome.
And have seen me through, like, it's crazy because, you know, you can't put time on certain things. Like, when you have connections with people, you have connections with them. And have literally been just, I mean, there, you know? Even when, like, I was telling Pocky the other day, I was like, dang, you were trying to talk sense to me for months, years even, and I thank you for not quitting, because it just clicked. I just had the aha moment. He been saying this.
Wow. And
I was just like, you know, thank you for, and just to know that I was gonna meet people and they were gonna come into my life and be so life changing.
Yeah.
That was totally God, because I wouldn't have.
Otherwise,
there was no other ways that our paths would have crossed
1000%.
Unless I did that. So, yeah. Benefits. Reaping multiple benefits.
And that's the beauty of God. You know, like, God has the full scope. Like, he knows beginning to end, not being cliche, it's the truth. It's for those who believe, it's facts. Like, he knows the full picture. And we exist in slices or pieces of the puzzle. And so those moments when it comes together and we, you know, like, we see, like, wait a minute, like, yes, this tornado hit my house, but if it weren't for this tornado, I wouldn't have met the love of my life, and I wouldn't be married with 3 kids right now.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's stuff like that.
Having
it's
kind of crazy story.
You know what I mean? Like,
I got hit by a bus, but the doctor that saved my life ended up.
Yes. I just heard this testimony of this lady who she got hit by a car, and the person that hit her, she's not married to. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, you know,
that's so nice.
But my point is, like, we look at these things, like, when we're going through the storm, like, we only see the storm and the effects in the moment of the storm, and we don't realize, like, okay, like, the storm by nature, like, it's going to pass. It was always going to pass. It was never intended to last forever. And the beauty of God is that it's like, you know, like, if you trust him enough, like, you get a chance to see, like, wait a minute, this storm gave me the most beautiful garden I could have ever imagined having to grow. And had it not been for this part of the process, I would not be here. God is so good. Like, you know, like, it's to God be the glory. And so for me, it's even in saying that, it's just like, wow, when you know you have these moments, why is it so hard to trust God more? Or, like, you get what I'm saying? It's like, you have these moments, like, you see the goodness, the hand of God in these other situations in your life. So when you find yourself in another season of waiting for a thing that you've been promised, it may be helpful to reflect on those moments where God didn't fail you, to help get you through this storm, like, this stage, because he's not a God that fails. Like, he never, ever fails.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Can I just appreciate the fact that I love that I created the journal? You know why? Because it literally has all of these phases. Every episode that we've been talking about, we've talked about what the promise is. We've talked about being frustrated. We've talked about seeing the God moments. We've talked about relinquishing control. We've talked about just being grateful. Like, all of those things play a part, right? Like,
1000%.
It is not a straight line. And I think it's sometimes easy for us to remember. It's kind of like somebody can do 10 good things, but that one bad thing is what you hold on to.
1000%.
And the thing is, that should never apply with God. But we're humans, so we're fallible in that way, and things can go wrong. And when they do go wrong, we forget ourselves. But we also forget our resiliency. We always like, if we stopped at the last trial we faced, we wouldn't be who we are today. And I don't know. I think that's a good stopping point for today, right?
It is.
I definitely challenge all of you to think about your God moments. Think about the times where you thought something was really bad and it turned around in your favor, or after going through, you realize how good it was for you. Think about that. Reflect on that. Just give God a little shout out saying thank you.
Hallelujah.
Until next time on another episode of the While I'm Waiting podcast. I don't know why I keep doing that. It's alphabet soup over here. Anyway, we'll see you on the next episode. And in the meantime, he gave you the promise. Give him the process.